Record intro. We're back. I like this hook. You got a book you want to tell us about? Well, let's talk. There's no other place to do it. Only on Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze. Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most simp, the crazy bad bird, and I am with
George. I don't hear anything. I hear nothing. I hear nothing.
Nothing?
George,
you got nothing? That sucks. So, all right. So let's put everybody on awareness mode.
Pull the curtain.
So we have been this whole social distancing and recording from multiple locations. It's been driving me nuts. So we tried FaceTime and the audios came off horribly, and I was getting text and messages from Facebook and YouTube saying, "Yo, what the bloody hell? His mouth is moving, but it looks like a kung fu flick." It's like
quality control department.
Yeah. So we went to Skype. Horrible. So then we downloaded Party Time, House Party, right? House Party. So when we were doing the recording with just George and myself, it was fine. But then when we added the third party, no bueno. So now I took the plunge, and now we are currently on, what are we on?
It would be the fourth.
Yes, this is the fourth thing, and this is called Zoom. Oh, we're on, I was like, what are we doing? So we're on Zoom right now, and it seems to be working. So we're trying to perfect this whole thing, do the podcast from a distance thing. So what you're seeing is a blank template on the screen. You just got the headshots and the logo right now because today's the first time we're doing it, and I had to adjust, and we're going to have a guest on Zoom with Zoom. So we will finesse the look of the show as we go, but right now this is it.
I can't even see. I don't even know what you're looking at. Oh, I just see you and me. That's it. I don't know what's around.
Oh, I could share the screen, but I chose not to right now because I got to learn this. So it's got to be a day where George and I just have free time where we can play around. But right now we are recording, and this show we have a special guest on. Who do we have on today, George?
Yeah, we got Sebastion Bonet.
Bonet.
He'll be on the show.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if it's Bonet or Bonet, but really cool guy. He's got a great show you guys should check out, Nerds of the Round. Nerds of the Round. Really fun show. It's a podcast, and they talk about all things geek, nerd related, and they go in depth, man. They're cool. They're cool as fuck. I mean, cool as whatever. They're very cool guys. There's three of them.
See that?
Now
I gotta put a disclaimer.
No, listen, it's just one.
Well, I am drinking on the show, so sorry about that. But I had a rough day.
Yeah. So we got Sebastian, we got Tone from down the hall, and we got their man Law. So I mean, we'll have them later on the show, all three of them. But tonight we're gonna have Sebastian on, and he'll tell us a little bit about that and some of his artwork. And yeah, it'll be fun, man. It's a good guy.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to that. And so what's been going down, James Brown?
It's the end of the month. This is the last show of the month.
Although we've come.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The end of the road.
And now it's about planning for next month. Which is always fun. So this show will be airing on the 29th of May. So it's 29th of May. Welcome everybody. And tonight we're going to be talking about
what's the topic, George?
Of the crowdfunding campaign.
Crowdfunding. Yo, back up. Give me space. You can't crowd anymore. You need 6 feet of space.
Distance funding.
Back up, son. Keep your distance. All right.
So that's the topic for tonight on Get Your Meds.
Get your.
And yeah, what's up with you? What's going on with you? What's happening in I Create Stories world?
I Create Stories. I'm currently hosting an art contest on ICreateStories.com. And so right now, the current trend that's happening right now is sketching characters, 6 characters, 6 panels, whatever it is. And they're like, well, what do you want me to draw? And people are drawing. It's for free. It's for fun. Bragging rights. Well, how about winning something, homie? Right? So this is an opportunity for you to get something in return. So all you have to do is draw your version of Duty from There's an Alien in My Toilet, which is currently on iCreateStories.com. And if you look up at the top of the screen, it says enter our art contest. Visit iCreateStories.com for details and enter to win. So you have multiple prizes from the Stop Acting Up gear or the There's an Alien in My Toilet gear. So anything from a hoodie to a shirt, whatever, you pick the color and the size. If you win first place, there's three prizes. All will be featured in the book that's being released in the fall. All will be featured on this show and also on the website with links to your page, and you get bragging rights. So you get prizes, bragging rights to just show me your best rendition of Duty. Do you got what it takes to get down with the dudester?
So I'm gonna act up right now. I'm about to act up.
Oh, he's always acting up.
I'm about to act up real quick.
He's always acting up.
I'm gonna ask you a question.
Ask me no questions. I'll tell you no lies.
So when is the contest over?
The last day of this month of May. And we will be announcing the winner on the June 5th show, which is the live show.
So you have 1 week. You have 1 week to get all of the stuff in.
But we've been promoting on every show. So every show leading up to this show, yes. So this is your last chance.
The last chance.
See, George is a smarty-arty. He went to the party.
1 week, yeah. Yes. I have to make sure because I don't want people to think, oh, I have time. No.
No, you don't have time.
It's the last day.
That's it.
So get drawing, man. Get drawing. Do you have anything, any Duty pictures near you where you could just pull it up and show them? Or no?
Oh, he's testing me.
I'm saying like physical copies of it.
Oh, do I have physical copies?
Yeah, not on your screen. I'm sure you have something on your
Absolutely, I do have something for you.
Absolutely. Hold on. Well, he gets that. Make sure that you guys, put in your submissions, get some free gear. It's you guys are drawing for free. You might as well draw to get something for free. So yeah, get those submissions in and check that stuff out. Log on to iCreateStories.com. Log into MedinaWhip.com, which is my website as well, and get some cool stuff in there. We're celebrating Russ 377's birthday all month long. So before
George is making me work today. All right.
I just wanted to get some information out there for the folks.
Informaciones.
Oh, you stepped away.
So here is a version of Duty as Samurai Duty. And what's
so get creative with it, right?
Your job is to get creative with it. Here, I'm moving my mic, but my mic sounds nice. Take one. So here are multiple versions of the Dudester, from Matrix Duty to Robin Hood Duty to Cowboy Duty. All of it is on iCreateStories.com, but where is the covers? Because I got a lot of books here, but I don't know what the hell I have. Here's one. Okay, I got something for you. Here's Duty being attacked by a red ant, a giant red ant. So,
what number is that? That was number 3, Sam?
This was number 2. 2 in the room. Remember that? Wiggle it just a little bit. So here's an opportunity to not only first place, you get any item from the store. One item, which is a hoodie, a shirt, a coffee mug, whatever you pick. And you get featured on the podcast, in the book, and on the website. Second place winner gets a copy of issue number 1, plus an original sketch card illustrated by me, plus all those other things. And third place winner gets a copy of the book, plus a pack of the trading cards, the Days in My Toilet trading cards, and the features. And every single submission is going to be featured on the website with a link to your website or your social media page, whatever it is. And every single submission will be featured in the book. So there'll be like a one pager with all the submissions, and then the 3 winners will get a page for themselves. So it'll be hot.
Nice.
Be hot. So here's an opportunity to get something in return for your hard work, man. I'm looking out for you. It's like you gotta give to get.
That's right.
Right? It's a relationship.
You got 1 more week.
1 more week. Una semana.
Una semana más.
Más media.
Más media.
Yes. Backwards, it's Sam's Media. Just want to let you guys know. I own stock in that company.
Nice segue, because the next segment of the show if you put it backwards, also means something, right, Sam? Get your meds.
Get your meds, right? Sam does everything masterfully. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, you want to go to that? Let's talk a little bit about crowdfunding.
We're on it. We're on the page.
You haven't changed it? You've been on it?
Okay. We've been on it. Yes, we're doing the thing.
Right. Well, then here we are.
Face to face, a couple of silver spoons.
We're going to focus on two crowdfunding giants, right? We all heard of Patreon. Well, most people have Patreon. A lot of people have Patreon pages. GoFundMe, WeFunder, Speed and Spark, Crowd Supply. There's a bunch of them. There's tons of crowdfunding campaigns.
Everybody has their hands in the pocket.
Yeah, but two of the biggest ones that I think most people have heard of, or most people in our industry have heard of, is Kickstarter and IndieGogo. Right. I feel like those two guys go hand in hand. Just a little history about the two companies. Looks like Kickstarter started back in 2009, and IndieGogo started in 2007, 2008. So I didn't realize IndieGogo was a little older than Kickstarter. I had no idea. But they work pretty much the same way.
They are, yes. Because I remember trying IndieGogo first, back when they first started.
Yeah, we had an IndieGogo campaign for Street Journal, actually, a few years back, which did pretty well.
Did it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But, so the thing with the crowdfunding campaigns, and I think both of them are pretty much the same in the sense that they take a 5% fee. They take a fee for when you have all your money ready to go. Right. They take 5% of whatever you've made, right? And they both work the same way. The difference is Kickstarter, if you don't make it, if you don't reach your goal, you don't get any of the money.
Nothing.
Okay? You get
nothing. So do the people who made the investment get their money back?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you notice, if you've ever decided to back a Kickstarter campaign, they don't charge you your money. They say, okay, you're willing to give $20, cool, give us your information, whatever. They don't charge you until that campaign is funded. The minute that campaign is funded, the minute they reach 100%, boom, they take the money out. So that's the way Kickstarter does it. IndieGogo gives you two options. IndieGogo says, okay, you either make the goal and you take the money, or you don't have to make the goal, but we take 9% of whatever you've made,
right,
and you keep it. So you don't have to make it, but you have to make that known to IndieGogo at the beginning of when you set up your campaign. So you can't do it at the end. You can't be like, oh, I don't think I'm going to make it. You know what? No, we're not. We'll take 9%. They tell you do that from the beginning.
Right.
Let us know from the beginning. So those are the two differences. Now, what happens is, and I went on the good old Facebook to ask people about, what do they prefer?
Right.
And most people prefer Kickstarter.
Right.
And not just people who had campaigns on there, but also people who were pledging to these campaigns. And so I was like, why, right? Like, why would you not, But what happens with IndieGogo, and unfortunately, and I like IndieGogo because like I told you, what happens with IndieGogo is, let's say, for example, you pledged to somebody's campaign on IndieGogo, but they didn't make their goal. Now, they still took your money, but you don't know if you're going to get the thing that you pledged for.
Right.
So you think this comic book is really cool. You throw $10 into it, $20 into it, and they don't make their goal. If they don't get around to printing it or whatever, you may never get and there's no way for you to say to IndieGogo, hey man, I want my money back. They say that's between you and them. So, I think that's probably one of the reasons why
they're not as successful as
most people
Kickstarter.
Somebody made a good point actually on Facebook. He said that he prefers Kickstarter, but also because there are large, what's his name? Todd McFarlane just had
$1 million
a Kickstarter campaign. Yes. And so that's bringing in a lot of people saying, oh, what is this Kickstarter thing? So now eyes are on Kickstarter.
But then it becomes that whole San Diego Comic-Con thing, right? So San Diego Comic-Con initially was for the comic book industry, the independents, big exposure. Then it became a Hollywood thing. Hollywood got a whiff of it, and then boom. Now it's just one big, the circus. It's like the biggest, the baddest, the baddest, and it's harder and harder and harder for the small guy to get the voice. You know what I'm saying? That seems like the direction that Kickstarter is going, because everywhere you look, all these celebrities are doing Kickstarters.
But they don't, in other words, yes, you're right, they do. But Kickstarter is, and I was reading about, because they have rules and regulations. They only have 13 topics or 13 things that you can crowdfund for.
Right.
If yours doesn't fall within those 13 parameters, then you can't do it. And they only fund projects, so you can't just sell a product on Kickstarter. You can't have a product. You can't have this glass and say, I'm selling this glass, give me $10 because I want to make more of this glass. No, you have to say, I'm in the process of making this glass. I have the bottom part of it, but I need the rest of the money to create the rest of this glass in the digital printing machine that I have that I need money for. So fund me for that. So there are ways, I guess, and I don't think that they'll turn you down. Again, the comment section at the bottom of this show, if you guys want to tell us a little bit more about us, enlighten us in that sense.
Right.
But I don't think that they turn you away unless you don't meet those parameters. So
the criteria.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, maybe you're right. Maybe it will turn into a crap show where it's like, dude, unless you got the clout, sorry, we can't fund your campaign, or we can't help you fund your campaign. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I know that we know a couple of independents out there that are successful, project after project after project with Kickstarter. Each time out, and that's how they're funding. That's how they're paying for their artists. That's how they're paying for their writer, their editors, and all that other stuff, and packaging the book, which I think is pretty fantastic.
Yeah. No, and listen, it sounds like a great idea to do a quick Kickstarter campaign, but let me give you some numbers, Sam. Success rate. The success rate of a successfully funded campaign on Kickstarter. Okay?
No bueno.
Out of 469,286 projects as of December 4th, 2019. So that was last year, like end of last year's numbers. Out of 469,286, only 37.45% of that were successful.
So why do you think the failure rate is so significant? What's causing that?
I think because it's a lot of work.
It is. We were just talking about that, right?
Yeah.
So
it's not just putting your project up there and everybody's gonna love it. Nah, you gotta hustle.
Yes, it's not and that's what we were talking about, because I think I have everything planned out, right? And then we were talking about it off air, where I was planning a weekend to do the research and put all the stuff together. Then an entire weekend to start my Kickstarter, to work on all of the stuff that needs to go on it. Because it's a lot of data, it's a lot of images, a lot of collateral, all that stuff. So it's an investment in time. Yeah. Then once it's up, now you have to be Paul Revere. The British are coming. You know, one if by land, two if by sea. You have to hustle, and you have to get that word out. And you can't just rely, it's there. And you just can't rely on your circle of friends. You know, you have to try to influence those people that don't know anything about you, and those people that are looking at the Kickstarters that you just said, out of 430 something thousand, you need to say like 437. Nearly 500,000 Kickstarters, right? And 30% of them are successful. You're competing with that arena. So you're competing with the 70% plus those failures plus the 30% success rate, right? And so what's going to make you different, what's going to make you different is the investments in how creative you are with your pitch and your charisma. Yeah. That's what it requires. It requires a lot of charisma on your end, really.
Well, a lot of it too is the work before the campaign is launched.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to promote the campaign before it actually launches.
Yes.
To give yourself a chance.
At least 30 days. Like do a countdown.
You have to start telling people, hey man, my campaign's coming out. There's plenty of successful artists that are up there. Omen, Michael A. Omen, he's got a campaign up there for Kickstarter right now, asking for $8,000 for issue 2 of a book that's already on Image.
Wow.
And he's almost there, man. Like in 24 hours. But these are names, and that they have an advantage because they have the name. But imagine you're going up against not against. I don't want to say against it because there's no you're not competing. I mean, I guess you're competing for the dollars. Because if you have $10, am I going to go to you who I don't know? Or am I going to, to Oming, who I love his artwork? So there is a sense of competition, but that's why you have to do the legwork so far ahead. And then once one of our good friends, JD Calderon, he does a lot of these campaigns, but he has like a fan base.
Yes.
He's good about that. He's been good about that. He's got a fan base of people that, hey man, like almost like when's your next one coming out? It's like when's your next book coming out? When's your next Kickstarter coming out? I'm ready. And they're ready, and he's done a good job with that. And that's kind of like sort of like the kind of stuff you have to do in order to be successful at Kickstarter campaigns. Yeah.
Yes. And I think you were trying to be very polite about it, but you are competing. You're competing with the names, you're competing with the unknowns. And there's levels to this game, right? So like you're competing with the people on your level if you're an independent unknown. Then you're competing with people who, like JD Calderon, who's not mainstream, who is not an unknown. He has a community, a fan base that's been loyal, that's been helping fuel that engine. Then you take it to that next step. You got the guys that are at Boom Studios or Alterna, or then you get the Omings of the world. Then you take it to that next level. You get the McFarlanes of the world. You take it to the next level. You get the celebrities, the DJs, the rappers that are working on their mixtapes or whatever, and they're raising money or whatever it is. So think about the level changes, and then think about your commitment. And again, it goes back to what I say. It's what are you not willing to do? Because if you're not so greater than you're willing, give it up. Because, it's exhausting for me when I looked at, oh man, I got to put this together, but I'm not just going to put anything together. I'm going to put some work behind it because it requires that, because I know what I'm going into. It's an arena that's cutthroat. And with that failure rate so significantly high, I don't want to be a statistic on my first showing. But the chances of me being a statistic are great, which means is I need to overcommit to not become a stat. So I think that's the biggest thing, and that level of awareness that you need to understand, and we need to understand, because we're in the same boat. I have a project that it's ready illustrated, but it's not colored. So I want to package it right. So I'm planning on doing a Kickstarter for Forbidden. But I just don't want to just put it up there. I want to make sure it looks good, that the incentives are great.
Here's my question. Here's my question for you.
Oh, no.
So you have an option. You can go Kickstarter versus IndieGogo. Right. Why Kickstarter and not IndieGogo? For you.
Because I tried IndieGogo a long time ago, and I didn't like the experience, and so I never tried Kickstarter. And based on what I've learned from peers, I feel like I'm willing to go. I feel like although the statistics are there and it's saying the odds are against you, crazy man, I feel good about my chances if I went that direction. I could be wrong, but I feel like I'm comfortable with their terms.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to go and commit and give it a shot there.
What was your experience with IndieGogo? What left a bad taste in your mouth?
Well, it was when it first started. The information wasn't real time. It was a bit challenging, and at that time, well, again, I did it at a time where you didn't have a lot of the avenues you have now. It was in the beginning stages of Crazy Comics or whatever, and I forgot. I don't know what I did with it. Which book? I don't know if it was There's Nail in My Toilet. I don't know what it was, or Cosmic Wars, but it just didn't work. And I just didn't like the experience. And so sitting in the back, and Patreon is something we're going to do with the podcasting. But again, it's about building the credibility first and building that fan base first before we start doing the, support our show. But that's the direction. And when we do it, it's going to be through Patreon. But for the projects, Kickstarter is the avenue of choice for me right now.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing. I think that I've done IndieGogo. I want to try Kickstarter. I think, and again, it's a numbers game. So if I have more people that feel more comfortable, putting money into a Kickstarter campaign versus an Indiegogo campaign, because they don't know if they're going to get their stuff or not, I'm going to go with Kickstarter, which is it's, even though, like you said, the success rate isn't that great,
right?
But I think that if you do the work, I think you can overcome that. Right. So yeah, I think Kickstarter for me is the way to go. I think in the battle of the crowdfunding campaigns tonight, I think Kickstarter wins for me.
Okay, so I need. Can you text me his email address because it came back undeliverable.
All right, sure, buddy.
Yeah.
But so I'm definitely gonna go with Kickstarter. Let me just send you this thing here real quick. The other thing with Kickstarter too, Sam, is like, how much do I ask for? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's the other challenge is, okay. I mean, and I guess it's not a challenge because I guess you decide, right? Like, how much is it going to take for me to get this thing off the ground? I'm going to ask for that amount of money.
Right.
But if it's big money, you better start doing your work now. Did you have it wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, so my man Oming, it's got 20 days to go. The project is the After Round, and it's issue 2. It's already, like I said, it's already being printed through Image. He's looking for 8,000. He's got 5,200 right now. He's got 20 days left to go.
He's got this. Right?
Yeah, so he should be fine.
All right, so we're gonna go to commercial now, and hopefully by the time we come back, our guest will be on the line. So, which commercial am I doing today? They're Homover. Craze in 10. Bomb. Nope. That's not what I'm looking for.
Oh, man.
There it is. All right, welcome to the Craze in 10 or less. Welcome to the Craze in 10 or less. Welcome to the Craze in 10 or less. That's 10 minutes or under. This is not going according to plan. What the heck is going on? Oh, hell no. Okay, there he goes. Let's see. Admit. Boom. Any second now. Boom, 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 boom. Turn on your camera. Start your video. So right now, Sebastion is coming on. There he goes.
There we go.
All right. Welcome to the show.
What's up, guys? How you doing, man?
Good, man. I'm just in the bunker.
You're hoarding. I see that. You're stocked up.
He's stocked up. He's ready to go. How you been, brother?
Been good. How you guys been?
Excellent. This is Samuel Vera.
Welcome to the Craze.
What's up, Sammy?
What's up?
How you doing, Samuel?
Good. At least I'm actually pinning your coordinates so you can get a stock of that.
I had to. It's so funny, man. This has been my background for every Zoom meeting now.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, this is our first time using Zoom because everything we've tried so far has failed. So far it's been consistent, and we're glad to have you on the show.
Thank you guys for having me. Yeah, we had George on our show not too long ago, and I know what you mean. It's trying to figure out this stuff. The audio didn't come through well. I was like, oh damn.
Yes.
Dude, you were doing this show, my audio didn't come through on this show, so that's not a good look when the audio doesn't come on your own show. It's
horrible.
Yeah. So what have you been up to, man? Tell us a little bit about yourself, Sebastian. Introduce yourself to our audience. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Cool. Well, I am an artist, writer. I've been working with Imbion the last few years now. When I first got into the scene, I self-published my first comic, which was Dead Planet. Then I did a quick web comic called The Deadline. And since then, I've just been doing a lot of fan art and also some cover art like for Lucky Zilla. I'm currently working on some other projects right now. Some of them can't talk too much about just yet until all the official documents. But Dead Planet is being revised and it's going to come up as a different name. And I just like having fun, bro. Podcaster, content creator with my wife on our YouTube channel, Jesse and Sebastian. So we try to do like different contents from vlogging. We did a quarantine video, quarantining with your spouse. It did pretty well. But yeah, we just have fun, man. That's it.
That's awesome.
You gotta check it out, Sam. It's hysterical. It's just them two, and it's just clips of them like, "Babe, what do you want to eat?" You still don't know what you want to eat. Like,
I know the feeling.
That's the thing. Like you could just kind of what you're talking about. But no, that sounds like fun, man.
Yeah, we just have fun with it, man. Like we came up with some concepts, some stories that we want to do with the channel too. It's just really sitting down there because my wife is the other creative half for our Dorky Creation, our media company that we're building, self-building, and from there, like it's just taking these projects with filming, Italian animation because I graduated from Full Sail last year. And so I'm practicing a lot with animations, try to get that going for later 2020, early 2021, and try to tie that in with the comics and all that. So animation and comics all together.
Yeah.
Nice.
You're busy. You're busy.
Yeah.
Very busy. That's good. How did you get involved with Imbion with Eric and them?
It's funny. Before I got into the comic world, backstory with that was I have to thank Scott Barnett and Jeff Marzik. They did a book called Dead Man's Party, and I met them going to my second Comic Con, or my first. I forget which one, but it was when I started coming to the Comic Con scene, and when I met them, they kind of were like inspiration for me getting into things. So from there, I took a business class. Because someone, Chris Duckett, I recommended taking a business class. I'm pretty sure these artists who's worked with Ray Felix. So took his advice to the business class, and then the business class had a whole thing about networking because networking is part of growing your business. Yeah. So I happened to go to Big Apple Comic Con a few weeks after that class. I was like, you know what? Let me print up some business cards. Let me go meet some people. That's how I met Eric Hutch. That was my first meeting with him.
Oh, nice.
I was like really intrigued with his stuff and all that. I was like, oh, this is dope. I'm looking to get into stuff and all that. Now, mind you, I hadn't done a table yet. I hadn't, came out there as an artist yet, but I was looking to do that. Then I saw him again when they had the show, what was a special edition New York City. And it was at that show I saw him and a few of the friends who started tabling too. Oh. And I was like, oh, dude, this is exciting. You're doing this. And then I think it was either that year or something like that. I ended up doing my first Imbion Con. That's when I debuted as an artist, writer, and debuted my book. And the relationship...
That was in Atlanta, Sebastian?
That was the one when I met you too, George, when I first met you at that con. So that was my first time tabling. Like I said, there were a few people there that was inspiration. You were one of those because you were one of those people. You came up to the table, we talked, you showed some support. Before the show ever started, I didn't expect this, but Eric pulled me to the side. He goes, listen, thank you for doing the show. I'm excited that you're doing this. But he's like, don't think about selling. Think about networking with people. Think about what you're going to take from today. He didn't have to do that. And that's kind of like how the relationship built from there. And I've respected that ever since because I've been to plenty of different cons, and Eric and Stan Kaponica are the only two people I've ever had that relationship with. Because when I did, and I've done plenty of different conventions, and you don't really, and I know a lot of the showrunners are running around, but you see people who are like very shady, and then you see people who are cool on it. But this was something there was like a lot more respect that I just have for Eric, and since there, it was just like a building of a relationship. Right. And eventually he hit me up, was like, hey, listen, I see you post a lot of these articles. Would you like to write for Imbion Mag? I was like, sure, why not? And then that's how it just grew from there.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So you started. So you were writing articles before that. Like you had like a blog or something. How do you know about your writing in that area?
No, he just took a chance with me because I was just sharing stuff and then my opinion on stuff, like, you know, on Facebook, and then he was just reading stuff like, yo, you're always like sharing this stuff, and I was like, you want to contribute to the magazine? So sure, you know, why not? And then from there, like, you know, went from contributor to editor in chief. My latest title is showrunner because I ran the convention last year for Eric for BeyondCon at Hofstra. We just, you know, it's bouncing stuff off of each other. I'm in a great team back there. It's like a family, man.
Yeah,
nice.
We had a I don't know if you know him, Mike Lopez. He does the Incredicon.
I've heard of Incredicon.
We had him on the show last week, and we asked him about this whole situation with the pandemic and things like that. Have you guys talked about what's going to happen with MBNCon?
We talk a lot of stuff. Like I said, it's kind of little things unwrap until we actually, like, you know, want to release stuff. That's how we basically see it right now, because we're playing everything by ear. But we have a lot of ideas that we're already talking about and already preparing, because right now, I mean, it's no secret, everybody's doing a virtual convention right now. We're looking at some adults. We're looking at ways on how to incorporate, like, you know, how can we still do stuff for the community right now? Hence why, if you see, a lot of us have hunkered down and really working on content creation. Because it's just like bringing something at ease for the community and everything. And we've been tossing around a lot of ideas. We definitely want the con to be a big element. And if it doesn't happen this year, we definitely want to bring some type of element to help everybody. Currently, one of the elements that we're doing is, as you see with the mag, we're trying to feature as much spotlights as possible, and kind of leaning towards the Nerds of the Round podcast too, where it's just trying to figure out this whole thing with it's a learning experience. There's no wrong way. You just go in there, break a couple of eggs. When you see which ones works with the recipe, then you just go right there, you know?
Right.
So it's just trying to figure out what recipe works that helps not only elevate the cup, but helps elevate the community, from the artists, the writers, everybody, that they get together and everybody's just elevating together.
Right.
Yeah, we've been breaking some eggs this whole month, figuring out this sound thing. A lot of eggs were broken.
Yeah, it's been stressful.
Bro, I've been breaking boxes. Like, it was just like, it's not working. Let's go try this now.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's what it is. But you tell me, I definitely want to talk about Nerds of the Round, but I also want to talk about your creative artwork, your comic books that you're coming out with. You want to talk a little bit about that? Tell us a little bit about the book that you have coming out.
Sure. I mean, I can't give too much on the name just yet, because there's some things I want to get done legally first with it. But I can tell you is that, again, it is Dead Planet, but I am changing the name completely. I've re-looked at the story, revamped it. I've revamped the characters. So because when I first released this book, it was, I released it. It wasn't perfect. And it was just something I wanted to get out there to get my name. And it was from and again, it was listening to Jake Parker, who was awesome like artist. He was like finished but not perfect. So I just like, you know what, I'm not gonna be done with this in this time of the convention. I want to at least get a short story. And it's funny, Dead Planet began as a prequel story to another story. It's like, when the story first started, I got the idea from learning about a mission some time ago that they wanted to do to Mars. It was some private company. I'm not sure where that's at now, but I remember reading it. They're like, they wanted to do a one-way trip to Mars. I was like, oh, that'll be crazy if some corporation, you know, they could do anything they want out there. Oh my God, I love the thing in Aliens. Let's try to all put this all together. And that's how that came to be. And it was originally called Red Planet. Then from there, it shifted to a story called Arctic. I was like, oh, we're bringing it to Earth, put it in the Antarctic. But then I'm like, that's biting off the thing too much. I don't want that. So it went back to outer space, Dead Planet, mad scientist experiment that went wrong. And when I was doing it, I was like, okay, I'm going to only focus on these three characters, because I was like, I want to do a prequel story and then do this whole other story. And it's funny because I got the whole other story written, and I'm not going to even use it. It's just there in the back burner pen, because I was like, yo, I just love the characters from the prequel so much, the first two characters, that now with the new story, I'm fleshing them out more, giving them a bigger cast of characters to play with. And it's just like, it's just it's just fun really developing this world. Like I'm going in there developing this corporate culture. Like where can I draw inspiration from? You got like, Borderlands, you got aliens who have like big corporations that take over everything. I mean, we see it in everyday life now.
Right.
And I just also too, what was big inspiration is that I want to see, main characters that kind of look like me. Growing up, I mean, I love Spider-Man, I love the Hulk, I love Captain America, Iron Man, but there was something that was always different about it. It's like, as a kid, and not to make like a race thing, but you're like, oh, I'm gonna be, Tony Stark, and I'm like, no, you can't because you're not, this and that. I was like, you know what? I want to create my own characters out there and tell stories and tell people stories.
Right.
And so these two characters are really close to their heart. And I mean, they're both majorly Hispanic characters that I'm developing here. And again, I got a lot of different things I'm pulling, like vehicle designs, like how do I want the base to look like, because again, it takes place in a distant science lab on a distant planet. So I'm like, okay, looking at all the sci-fi stuff, just playing around with it.
Yeah, it almost sounds like a film. It almost sounds like you're treating it like you're developing this world for a film. It sounds really cool, man.
Well,
Are
actually,
you doing the artwork?
Huh?
Are you doing the artwork as well?
I'm doing the artwork as well because it's my big baby right now. There's stories that I have that I wouldn't mind collaborating with people, but it's like I just really want to get the story out there, and I even don't mind like getting people like Young, my buddy Young. He goes by the name of Turtle Man. I got Bulletproof Turtle Man. He does some fantastic art, and he's helped with. I'll send him some ideas, concepts that I did, and then he'll send something back to me. He helped me out with really developing the female character, made some changes. He goes, he loved the look. He's like, well, why don't we go with this? I was like, cool. So I'm definitely giving him some credit on that. And again, working with the NBA fam, and also too with Alex Wayward Raven, I'll send him some ideas that I have sometimes too, and he'll send some stuff back. And it's just, it's just helping with building, getting people's opinion with helping building these characters and their overall look so that they're just visually stunning for people. But I do want to do the first book as the artist and the writer. Future stories, I wouldn't even mind someone coming in being the future artist for it. But I just want to establish like, okay, this is why, because I have a particular style that I want to get out for this book.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. So we were talking before you came on, the segment we were talking about was the battle of the crowdfunding campaigns. Would you be looking into maybe putting a Kickstarter or an IndieGogo or some kind of crowdfunding campaign for it? Or is that too far in the future? You haven't even really thought about it?
I haven't thought about Kickstarter or IndieGogo because from experience, from what I've seen, what happens with people is like if you're not really getting out there, meeting people, building a fan base, and getting to know people, or they don't see your work,
right.
It becomes tough because I've seen Kickstarters, and there's so many Kickstarters and IndieGogos to compete with. And like even with Kickstarter, you'll get the funds, but if you don't meet your goal, you're not going to get the money. So it's like, oh damn, that's disheartening. And I pay attention to like Javier Winnick, for example, is one of the people who, and he's definitely he's done 3 successful Kickstarters already for his book Reason to Smile. And I just look at, want to try to mirror what he's done. And he goes out there, he's always marketing, he's meeting people, he's and stuff. And that's something that I want to do with this book. I want to, have something ahead, market to people, show them. And then if I want to get to mass production and eventually, and I'll just throw this out there, eventually I do want to turn it into some type of animation.
Yeah, I talk about this thing all the time, and the comic books are only going to get you so far. Yeah. It's about the animations. It's about that other stuff that is going to take it to the next level,
Bro, we were, and you're right, because we were meeting with these this music company downtown. We're having some vibes and all that, where their music studio was set up. It was in the basement of this building. So I'm walking down this basement, and Eric Hutch was with me, and it's funny because Eric has seen, and I sent him all the concepts too, and we're looking down the hallway, and we both thought it like Dead Planet. We see this like someone walking down like a little live action shot. I'm like, oh, this is so dope. So that's every time I'm thinking about that. It comes down to it.
Nice.
Amazing, bro. So let me ask you now about your other endeavor, the Nerds of the Round, which is the show that you guys had me on, and I appreciate you having me on the show. But
and we're gonna have you guys on. We're gonna have the whole crew on again. So when we do that episode,
there you go.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you guys.
I'll bring my book bag and get some of that toilet paper.
Hey, I got triple ply, I got single ply, I got silk ply. Let's go now.
So tell me about the Nerds of the Round, man. Tell me how that came about.
Nerds of the Round.
People don't know. Tell them what it is.
Well, Nerds of the Round is a podcast show that it's me, Tony, and Law. Tony from across the hall, Lawrence, who's COO of Beyond. We just get together. We shoot the shit. We shoot the stuff. Sorry for that. So we like to talk about nerdy things and everything. And then we just started a segment with interviewing content creators from artists, writers, YouTubers. So we want to also get that vibe of meeting people who don't get interviewed from like all these, because we want to get the name of people out there because we know how it is in these trenches, and just help with exposure. And it's a great way to network, to meet new people. So that's, what we started the segment. The origins of the show started on my buddy's channel, which is called Geeks Unlimited. And it was a talk show I started there. It was funny because Lawrence was my first guest, and my guest on the couch too was Mayhem Mike. I was going to be the only host. And so it went through a lot of iterations of the show. And I think when it really started picking up is when Tony came along. And Law was always a constant guest. And then eventually like, yo, you're always here, dude. You might as well just might as well just come on. He's like, okay. So and we all want to come on and do your show. Don't worry. It's tough with the timing on, but it's like, yeah, it just happened. That's it. It's just, Tony, Strojo together, Law came in, and that's it. We found our Nerds of the Round. And again, I can't find the first episode because I think we deleted it, because if you saw that first episode compared to what it is now, and it's still always ever changing, still always growing, definitely have to change the theme intro because it was a really weird theme intro I came up with, so we want something different. But it's just, the whole show's also been a great learning experience, and we've met a lot of great people on the show, man. It's been an awesome ride in that show.
No, what I love about it too, man, is like it's literally it's like labor of love, but there's a lot of people involved in it. Even like your wife is behind the scenes.
Yes,
she's recording the show, she's cutting the show up. Like, yeah, that's awesome, bro. I love that.
Yeah, she is the director of the show, and will not hesitate to let me know when I am stumbling over my words.
Sounds familiar. Awesome. Sounds familiar. My wife keeps counting my ums.
Yes, yes. That happened in the beginning. She counted my definitely, so I can relate. But she is awesome when it comes down to it. She's actually also the biggest driving force behind it. Just recently, I started learning how to do some of the editing, so I've been doing some of the post work, and so we've been working together to try to take some of that work away from her, so it's a little easier for her. So it's like, yeah, she was just for the longest the only person just doing it, wow. And I was like, dude. If you see some of her editing work, it's like she never went to school for editing. She learned all this on her own. And when I tell you, my wife, she is a Jill of all trades. This woman can bake. She can create stuff from scratch, such as like, she makes like hand-bound journals from scratch. Photographer, video editor. Again, you name it, she's done it. She's a Jill of all trades.
And self-taught.
Huh? Oh, yeah. My audio. Sorry.
No, I'm saying she's self-taught.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, bro, you tell her to bake you a cake, she will bake you a cake from scratch. You're like, yo, this cake is banging. She went to school for theater.
Wow.
Wow, man, that's awesome. Yeah, no, and I saw some of the like the back. I don't know what the timetable is of the episodes, but I have seen some of your older episodes in comparison, and the way you have changed the show, even the way the opening has changed and stuff like that. It was called Nerds of the Round Table, right? At first,
no, it was always Nerds of the Round. Sorry. It was always Nerds of the Round. It got confused because we were looking it up and we got kind of scared that we couldn't keep the name because there was a show that was out, Nerds of the Round Table.
Yeah.
But when you looked at the last time they released an episode, it's been so long.
All right.
So we were like, okay, we're coming in with this. These guys haven't released anything. We're not stepping on their toes. We're a totally different flavor from them. Not to say they had some good stuff. Bro, their intro was just freaking phenomenal. I'm like, yo, that's the level I want to get for the show. Like, I'm working on a piece that has Tony as the gamer. He has like a switch gun Law has like a Batman hat and like a cape, and then he has stuff. And then me, I'm like the artist. I have like a pencil sword with a sketchbook shield and all that, with a bandana that's like photo ribbon. So we're trying to tie all the elements in together. So I was working on that, and just having fun with, man.
Fun show. It's a fun show. I definitely we would love to. Now that we have the Zoom thing, we can have
100 people. Yeah, no.
show. It's not a problem. You know what I mean?
It's finally working. Yes.
But we'll see when it airs. This, by the way, this one, Sebastian, will air at the end of the month, so you'll be our last episode of the month of May. Yeah.
You gotta say the toilet paper guy for last.
There you go. Well, by that time we're hoping that there's a release into the public and everyone can start going back into social, getting closer. Because if we release this now, they're gonna raid your house.
Well, there is the trick. You just get the paper towel and cut it in half. There you go. You got 2 rolls.
There you go.
It's a little rough, but
yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Oh man,
how you guys been through all this, man, and adjustments?
Good, man. I'm just trying to stay productive. I'm trying to stay, just working on lettering Sam's book. He's doing Forbidden. So
nice.
In his book, I'm working on my stuff, just trying to put my Wonder Duck out there, my Russ out there. So yeah, I've been busy doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's just adjusting to the change. Having to adjust to George not being in the studio, using different tools to get the job done. So that's been some growing pains. But other than that, this downtime, we've been very productive in this downtime.
You know what's crazy, and you could probably relate to this. It's building the fan base for the channel.
Yes.
Trying to get the subscribers to the channel. That's been like one of those things where we got to get some more subscribers in here and stuff like that. So I'm sure you can relate to that.
Oh yeah, it's all about the marketing, and I definitely can relate to it. And that's why I said one of the things I picked up, because Tony's the guy who does the analytics. He went to school for that. He works for a company, does their analytics and stuff like that. He's doing it for Embyon now, because we got him over at Embyon. And he's just phenomenal with it. And it's definitely a grind. If anyone tells you that it's easy, it's not. It's really not. I mean, you look at some people like, oh, this person got it overnight and all that. It's like, no, you got to go out there and be in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
There was a lesson I learned at Creative AfterCon. It's a networking event sponsored now by New York City Comic Con. They hold it in Twins Pub every year. I'm not sure what's going to happen this year, but it's always been an awesome event. And they did a panel where they said, it was Mark Frankel from Wayward Raven. He was like, listen, we do comics, we get into this game and everything, and it's not about the money. You don't get in it for the money, because you're going to burn yourself out.
Yep.
We do it because we love it. And again, it's the grind, man. Because once you build this up from scratch and you see that you were able to get that audience, that you were able to get people, that you were able to get someone come up to be like, yo, I listened to you guys. I picked up, like you said, George, when the guy came back with your book that he purchased, it's like there's a feeling you feel, and it's like, I did this, I create this. Let's keep going.
Absolutely, dude. It's incredible. It's an incredible feeling. It's like you can't even really explain what it feels like unless you actually go through it. But yeah,
sure. It's amazing that you brought up the Twins Pub, because back a decade ago, when we first launched Cast the Craze, we would host in the after party at the Twins Pub.
Spot.
Yes, at the Twins Pub, and it used to be hot, packed. Standing room only. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Bro, we've been going there for the last few years, and the bartender sees us maybe like once a year, and she knows all of our names. She is awesome.
Yeah, a good spot.
Yeah, it's a good spot. Sebastian, we're out of time, but thank you so much, brother, for coming on.
Thank you for having me on, guys.
Like I told you, man, we're gonna have the guys on here. We'll do a whole Nerds of the Round.
Absolutely.
Crossover. It'll be great.
Battle of the podcasters.
I'll have the extra, toilet paper, the paper towels, maybe the sanitized wipes.
I'll have my Lysol. We'll be good.
It'll be great. Thanks again for coming, bro, and we'll keep in touch.
Thank you guys again for having me on. Be safe. And, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Take care, buddy.
Later.
Oh, there you go. All right. So that was a good segment.
That was awesome, bro. Yeah, Sebastian's cool, man. Sebastian's been around. I hear his story, and I'm like, that was us. Like, you know, when you go to your first convention and you have all of these things going on, it's amazing. It's really amazing. Yeah. But we should probably cut this one.
Yes,
we got some stuff to do.
We got some stuff to do. Well, I just lost you. Go back to meeting. Boom. There it is. And I got to go into Facebook to start setting that up. So we're going to go to commercial break. That was a great show. I'm your host, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and that is
George, the Dreamer, Medina. Yo, I don't hear the sound.
I know. We got to figure that out. What do you want to give me one day at a time? One day at a time. So we'll go to credits. Peace. It's just easy. It's not. Crazy. Crazy. You so crazy. Acquiesce. Crazy. No, it's about my friend Acquiesce. Say my name, say my name. Right? This is what you were thinking? Yes. Oh, he described me. He said, I'm the...
You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze on Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.